Good evening. I'd like to call the Common Council meeting for February 14th to order. Please call the roll. Call the order first. Oh, you're right. Call the roll a second. All right, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. And now the roll.
Alderman Strelchak,
Here.
Alderman Bushy, here. Alderman Meyer,
Here.
Alderman Hancher,
Here.
Alderman Garrell,
Here.
Alderman Parrish,
Here.
Alderman Schneider,
Here.
Alderman Gebhardt,
Here.
Mayor Nurbin.
Here. First up, we have a report from January 10th, 2023 of the special election results.
Thank you. A special election was held on January 10th to elect the next alderman to District 8. Mr. Bill Gebhardt received the most votes and was elected to represent the district. He will serve the remainder of the term, which expires in April of 2024.
Thank you. And that leads right into our next item where Mr. Gebhardt will take the oath of office.
I, Bill Gebhardt, having been elected to the office of Alderman District 8, swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability, so help me God. Thank you.
Welcome aboard. First up, we have personal appearances and public comment. Citizens wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time. If you desire to be heard on agenda items, you may be heard when that item is considered on the agenda. Please speak into the microphone at the podium. The time limit is 5 minutes. And to have your opinion recorded, please complete that registration slip found in the table in the rear. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on any item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to our next item, which is public officials reports. I just have one. I'd like to wish everyone watching at home, hopefully you're not watching at home right now, happy Valentine's Day. If you are watching at home, I wish you better success in your personal endeavors in 2023. Hopefully you're watching us on tape delay and you're having a lovely dinner with your significant other. With that, City Administrator.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick deadlines I'd like to bring to the council and the viewing audience's attention here this week. As the mayor mentioned, today is February 14th, but on February 17th, that is the application deadline for our Citizens Police Academy that's run annually by the police department. Application materials and more details are available on the city website. February 17th, this Friday, is also the application deadline for anyone interested in becoming a full-time firefighter paramedic with the new Southern Ozaki Fire and EMS Department. Again, application materials and more information is also available on the city website. Lastly, Friday is also the deadline for early voting for the February 21st spring primary election. City Hall will be open for early voting from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The very next day, Saturday, February 18th, the Sunrise Rotary Club and the City of Mequon's Public Works Department will be holding the Candlelight Walk in the Woods at Phuket Woods at Rotary Park. This is a free event open to all members of the community from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Saturday evening. The park will be open, the restrooms will be open, and refreshments will be served to all in attendance. And lastly, I've asked Chief Pryor to come to tonight's meeting to just give a quick update on the emergency notification system that is now available to Mequon residents with the move of emergency dispatch to Ozaukee County in Port Washington. Chief?
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me, and thanks for giving us a minute to just chat on this topic. It is rainy and yucky outside, so if you are at home, it might be okay. As the police department continues to work with Ozaukee County and their dispatch center, we just wanted to advise Mequon residents of an available emergency notification system that is available to all residents of Ozaukee County. Residents have long known that they may dial 911 for police, fire, or medical assistance. Additionally, the Ozaukee County Sheriff's Department, Office of Public Health, and Emergency Management Division participate in a mass alert notification system called Alert Sense, which is similar to that of a reverse of the 911 system. The County Dispatch Center, either on its own or at the request of city officials, can send voice and text messages that alert the community to a variety of emergency and non-emergency circumstances, such as a crime or imminent danger, evacuation alerts, hazardous materials, local emergencies, or missing persons and Amber Alerts. This program also provides for severe weather alerts. For more information, if you can go on to the City of Mequon webpage under the Police News, we have a news article there that you can click on a link to sign up. Or if you choose to go to Ozaukee County's website, if you search Ozaukee County Alert Sense, the information will be provided there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next up, we have the consent agenda. We have 11 sets of minutes from various boards and commissions and 3 resolutions. Does anyone wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion, or is there a motion?
Can we remove resolution 4010?
There's a request to take 4010 up separately. Any other ones we'd like to pull out and talk about? Hearing none, is there a motion on the rest of the items other than item L?
Move approval on the balance.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are passed. The next one is, we'll take up item 4010, and Alderman Schneider has a question.
First, I just have a comment. Thank you very much to everyone that worked on this project. This is much more compatible with the neighborhood than the one that was originally presented for this site. I'm very happy about it and the staff's efforts. Second, just a quick request that we need a map when we get these items. We got a lot of information about all the details of the project, but we didn't get a visual in our packet, and that really helps me at least understand the logistics of the place. My only question really involves, I just wanted to understand a little bit better about the sanitary sewer. I thought that there was sanitary sewer service available, and that is the case because we just changed it to sanitary sewer availability. But why does it require a storage facility?
See, Director Lundin is going to come up and field that question.
When the question about private sanitary sewer service came up, we outlined a number of projects that the city would have to complete to address existing capacity issues within our own system. The goal certainly would be to ultimately serve this property. It is ultimately on within the sewer service area. But unfortunately, because the projects are not complete yet, there is concern about exacerbating the downstream capacity issues. So we've otherwise resolved that with a storage facility that would just otherwise gather the flow in those high flow times to ensure that it neither backed up the new properties that are connected nor caused any further issues to those downstream. In this case, we're proposing that it would ultimately be dedicated to the utility so that if in the future we're able to address the capacity issues sufficiently, we could abandon the unit in place.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions on this item? Alderman Giro.
And pretty similar to what you did with the hospital, right?
Correct. The medical facility that was on the corner also has a holding tank that speaks to our lift station. This one won't be quite as regulated. It will literally just hold the material if there is a surcharging. But yes, the medical facility on the corner was required to have a similar constraint.
Yeah, I met with Jack Zader and went over this the other day and tried to talk to some of the residents right in the area. I think it looks like a really attractive project the way that it's put together, and with the walking trails and some of the other things that go along with it. So that's all.
I would agree with that. It's a very attractive layout. It's a good first project to blaze the trail for what's hopefully to follow. It's a good model for everyone else to emulate. Forget, did we have a motion?
Move approval.
There's a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further comments or questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? That item's approved. We move on now to ordinances. Ordinance 2023-1638, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Mequon Municipal Code related to electronic attendance at meetings. Recommendation is forthcoming from Public Welfare.
Public Welfare did approve, and I make a motion to approve.
Second.
The motion and a second. I should also note the first reading for this item was last month in January, because it says it here. City Attorney.
Just, I guess, point of clarification on the dais and sent by email as we were preparing for the meeting earlier today. Identified a couple, I guess, typographical issues with the ordinance as presented. That, as I say, is on the dais. Basically, where we reference section 2-430, which was the intent, we dropped off the 3, and the ordinance just references 2-40. And then also in section 5 of the ordinance, as presented, it talks about the council, and that really, because it's in the committee section, should say committee. And as a result, we then also dropped off the mayor. Would hope that just a friendly amendment there with the approval to reflect those changes.
The motioner and the seconder accept that friendly amendment?
Yes.
I see. Yes, okay. So I guess as presented in the materials in front of us here, but it'll be a little bit different than what's in the packet, as just described by the city attorney. So we have a motion and a second to approve it as just described by the city attorney. Is there any other conversation or input? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? And that ordinance is approved. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 4013, a resolution authorizing expenditures and awarding contracts for the final phase of public improvement projects in the Town Center Tax Increment District number 3 for the reconfiguration of Mequon Road, the OIT crossing improvements, overhead utility burial, street lighting, streetscaping, signage, land acquisition, and ancillary maintenance in the amount of $5,365,627. This was recommended earlier this evening by the Committee of the Whole. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Okay, any other discussion at council that we didn't get out of the way at the Committee of the Whole? I think we've answered everyone's questions. I'd just like to say I'm glad this is finally moving in the right direction. It's been a long time in the making. It's easily the number one item I've received inquiries on it since becoming mayor in April. And the improvements to safety at the OIT crossing is long overdue. And that was kind of how we kicked off this discussion. And it's a relief to have it, the wheels set in motion so we can get that work done later this year. With that said, Do we have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye when your name is called. Almost got you there.
Alderman Strelchuk,
Aye.
Alderman Bushy,
Aye.
Alderman Meyer,
Aye.
Alderman Hancher,
Aye.
Alderman Garrow,
Aye.
Alderman Parrish,
Aye.
Alderman Schneider,
Aye.
Alderman Gebhardt.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mequon's going to be proud of this one. It's a kind of the capstone for our town center project. Next up, we have Resolution 4014, resolution authorizing the purchase and implementation of electronic poll books, supplies, and training in the amount not to exceed of $90,000. This was recommended earlier this evening by the Finance and Personnel Committee, 3-0.
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Does anyone have any comments or questions about this item? Seeing or hearing none, please call the roll.
Alderman Bushy,
Aye.
Alderman Meyer,
Aye.
Alderman Hancher,
Aye.
Alderman Garrow,
Aye.
Alderman Parrish,
Aye.
Alderman Schneider,
Aye.
Alderman Gebhardt,
Aye.
Alderman Strelchuk.
Aye.
And that item is approved. Next up, Resolution 4015, resolution approving a town center business loan between Bank 59 and Tamatito in the amount of $25,000 for a restaurant located at 6300 West Mequon Road. This was recommended by the Economic Development Board on January 24th, and it was recommended this evening by the Finance and Personnel Committee. For those at home, this will be replacing Cafe Corazon and to fill up that space and keep the tacos and margaritas coming. Is there any comments or questions from the commission or the council on this item?
I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 4015.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please respond when your name is called.
Alderman Meyer,
Aye.
Alderman Hancher,
Aye.
Alderman Garrow,
Aye.
Alderman Parrish,
Aye.
Alderman Schneider,
Aye.
Alderman Gebhardt,
Aye.
Alderman Strelchuk,
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
And that item's approved. Resolution 4016, a resolution amending the template memorandum of understanding for private water trusts operating in the public right-of-way to reference city standard specifications for land developments. Recommendation is forthcoming from Public Works this evening.
Public Works approved of it, 3-0.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions regarding this item, or is there a motion?
I move to approve Resolution 4016.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, if you approve, please say aye.
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 Opposed? That resolution passes as well. Resolution 4017, resolution authorizing installation of widened paved shoulders along Highland Road from Wauwatosa Road to the railroad crossing west of Cedarburg Road. Recommendation forthcoming from Public Works.
Public Works approved of it, 3-0. And then I move to Resolution 4017 for approval.
Motion. Is there a second? We can still discuss it.
Second.
Motion and a second. Alderman Parrish.
Thank you, Mayor. This item caused me a little bit of confusion on the agenda. I could probably go either way on it. I don't have a good understanding of the need for it there. I don't know how many people use this area of that corridor. Another thing I noticed on there was that when you look at the red square, it doesn't actually connect to Cedarburg Road or Green Bay Road. So I don't understand why we don't. If we're doing this, why aren't we doing it the whole way? Why did the Bike Thiensville Commission recommend here? I mean, their study isn't done. It seems like it's a path kind of. I get that there'd be a lot of traffic between Port Washington Road and the interurban trail, but this just seems a little out there. And there's no contemplation of like ongoing maintenance expenses, et cetera, et cetera. I don't get this one.
This is a widened shoulder, not a separate bike trail. I think currently there's no bike shoulder. If I'm
and when I look at it, it looks like it's at least $250,000 more, plus a bunch of unknown costs like acquisitions of easements and property rights. I just don't feel like we necessarily know what we're signing up for here.
Alderman Bushy.
Thank you. Perhaps part of the answer to the first part of your question is there is a little bit of a shoulder that goes from Cedarburg Road up to the OIT trail. So there's a shoulder already there. It's the continuation afterwards. So as everyone knows, I'm kind of a crazy biker runner, but I also looked at this because I'm also a taxpayer. So I went out there this afternoon and by foot, of course, to check out the area. And I just want to note some observations, first of all, and then some comments that I had on this, is that I started by MATC, where the shoulder to the right of the white line is about 3.5 feet, which gets biked on very frequently. Now going to the other stretch, going to the west of the interurban trail, there's not only no shoulder there, right now the current conditions of the road is that it's very broken up on the edges. And that there's one point actually in the middle as far as the ability actually to put in the wider lane is right in the middle. There's very steep drop-offs on both sides, and that's just 4 feet from what I saw as a white line. So I don't even know the feasibility of putting those in. So that's a question. And then another comment is it was referred to in the packet that we have that there's a 2010 to 2030 bikeway plan, and I think it would be actually beneficial to maybe have a presentation to the committee of the whole to maybe see that whole vision and how the pieces fit together, because it seems like we're often doing this piecemeal by whatever road is currently going to be under construction. So then as I looked at this, there's pluses and minuses, as I mentioned. Obviously it's going to be safer, not only for anybody using the road, but for cars passing, because it goes up a hill. And so there's a blind spot when cars are coming in both directions at the peak of the hill. If somebody is trying to drive around someone, that's going to create a safety hazard. So this would help with that. It obviously also would connect the bike lane from Cedarburg Road all the way that in both directions all the way to Port Washington Road and eventually Lakeshore Drive. And then it obviously also establishes more bike-friendly way to get onto the OIT, which would travel up to Cedarburg and down to town center area and continuing. Looking at the minuses of this, again, the expenses. And Director Lundin did mention that there was a potential for a 2-foot option. It would not be an official bike lane to go through, and that cost would be approximately just, as of now, or today's guess, around $15,000, which is much less than the $250. So that's where I see both sides of this. And then again, as I said, minus, I don't know if it's going to be an official bike lane in the middle with that shortage. And then the other thought is, with this large sum of money, is if there's other avenues, roads actually, that can be used with this money for biking trails that would get much more distance, I would say, out for the money. So that's where I'm also, kind of in the middle of the road on this one, no pun intended here, of trying to decide which way to go with this. But the one thing that does override this is I noticed that when I went up to Highland Road, that there was a large amount, that was around 3:30 today. There was a large amount of traffic on that section that I did not anticipate. So even running along the side of the road, I felt uncomfortable with cars going both ways. And I would assume that's a result of the new interchange. So we have more traffic going up there. And then I wonder if, where things will be going in the future with increased traffic. So as of now, as crazy as I am as a biker, I would not recommend anybody taking that route by bike, as in today's conditions, because of increased traffic. So that kind of leads me towards looking towards going in favor of this in the long run.
Alderman Stralchek.
A lot of really great facts and good research there. I'm going to give you a little personal flair on that. I've ridden that road since I was a kid. I had a landscaping job as a kid. I lived up near the Highland House, and I rode my bike and climbing that hill to go to work in the morning. I was almost taken out by a trailer more than one time. Somebody didn't see me coming over that hill and climbing the hill. My goal as a council member here, and I'm going to state it clearly, and I've been very vocal on bike shoulders and bike paths within the city, and with Alderman Bushy's recommendation that with the increased traffic that people shouldn't ride their bike, I think they should. I think they should be able to do so, and I think they should be able to do so safely. My goal as a council member is to have a bike safe and bike friendly community so you can ride from place to place, go from place to place. Kids can get to the interurban trail safely without their parents just absolutely climbing out of their mind worrying about it. I've got kids and I will not send them down Green Bay Road because there is no shoulder. I turned on Bonnewell, I came down to Highland Road, and I followed a truck with a trailer. Thank God didn't cut the biker off, but followed the biker at under 20 miles an hour for the entire time and didn't get around him and pass him. It creates unsafe situations if somebody's trying to yield to the biker and create a safe environment. Other motorists would maybe pass in areas where they haven't. I've seen people pass on double yellow lines and things like that. This being in District 1, keep in mind, this also connects you to the rest of 53097. Highland Road's a main drag down. You can get down, to MATC to go to class. You can ride all the way up to Highland House and then over to Concordia University on widened shouldered roads. This just really kind of completes that east-west path for somebody to safely travel throughout the city. So if we can chip at this piece by piece and section of road by section of road to make this a more bike-friendly community one by one, this will kind of be commonplace when we do repaving in the future. It's just going to be something that, yeah, it's unfortunate that we didn't do it when we put the road in the first place, but, now's the time to, have an opportunity to create a bike safe area for kids to travel to and from, and active cyclists like, Alderman Bushy and myself to get from point A to point B. You want to get on that interurban trail. This connects the west to the interurban trail, gives that one more safe area, and there is a significant amount of traffic between Green Bay Road and Green Bay 57 and Wauwatosa Road. So, I'm in support of this. I'm going to vote in favor of it, for those following reasons, and I hope fellow council members agree with my point. If not, looking forward to hearing your opinions.
Yeah, I know the Bike Commission has this stretch on one of their, it's on their radar screen, is needing bike services at some point, and unfortunately, we have to chip away at it a little bit at a time as we do the road program, because if you did it as a standalone project, it just cost way more. So the road's in rough condition, it's the time to consider it, and if you don't build it now, you'll never build it ever, because it'll be 30 years before you replace the road again. It's just kind of the nature of the beast.
And the biggest complaints are coming from the east-west corridor being Mequon Road, that people can't get safely up and down Mequon Road. So this really is our east-west corridor for the city to travel safely on a bike through the city.
Alderman Gebhardt.
Thank you. I just wanted to share my thoughts and how I was thinking about it. We struggled with this in the committee meeting as well and had some discussion around this specific topic. The costs certainly are a little bit more than what you might see on a normal road because of some of the ditch work and that, as I understand it, that needs to be done. But I viewed it more as a forward-looking type of item, figuring that traffic may only go ahead and increase down the road as you think in terms of out west. And then as we think of it in terms of major east-west corridors, you've got Mequon Road, and that's got a sidewalk that extends all the way out to Wauwatosa Road. The piece that I came to terms with is looking at that as a comparison and knowing that Highland Road would be the next major east-west thoroughfare, going ahead and extending that out to Wauwatosa Road at this point in time seemed like something that would be a good decision in my opinion.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions or a potential motion? Alderman Meyer.
There we go. I did vote for it inside Public Works. I had my apprehensions about it. I did it just so we could move it forward to common council. I'm not comfortable with that in that area. I'm comfortable with bike paths. But unfortunately, you know what, that is classified as a bike path when you have the 4 feet inside that. You know, that space is not really adequate for it. I see it every day, and I think everybody else sees it every day, where the bikers are traveling, and I can challenge you to, when you're following somebody, that they're staying within the bike path. They just don't. I mean, it's always outside of that, you know. And the reason being is because it's probably a comfort level with them too, is that getting close to gravel areas inside, which is not good for biking. So they tend to stay away from that. And when I'm following that, I always see them over it, and especially when you see bikers traveling in pairs or in groups, they're never single file. And you're having that same issue with trying to get around a single biker as you're trying to do if you have a path or you don't have a path inside there. So plus the cost involved inside of doing this, well, I voted for it in Public Works. I'm not going to be voting for it tonight. If we took a look at expanding that even a little bit farther so there'd be more room inside there for it, because I just don't think the 4 foot is adequate, even though, like I said before, that's the state requirements for it, and that I just don't think that's appropriate for it inside that area with the traffic that's been increasing because of the east and west traffic now that we got because of the new ramps over there. I think we have to consider that safety factor.
Any further comments or questions, or is there a motion? Alderman Strelchek.
I'm going to encourage Alderman Meyer to think about this. 4 feet is narrow. However, as you're an adult male or a family with a burleys are 2 to 3 feet wide, gives you inches, or at least close to a foot on one side to either stay away from traffic or go near the gravel. I'd also like to highlight as a bicyclist that if I can ride in a shouldered area, I'm going to every single time. If I can get my handlebar inside of the paint, if a car chooses to not give me enough room, my safety is critical. They can still pass within the lane that they were provided. If they leave the lane, I'm in danger. If they don't leave the lane, I'm in control of my own bicycle. And in a 3 to 4 foot wide bike path, this being a 4 is ideal, gives you that capability to not necessarily have to stay exactly on line with a road bike set of handlebars. You could have a mountain bike in there. Those are like 2.5 feet wide or 2 feet wide, depending on the bike. And you've got the room to effectively ride on that shoulder and be safely protected or safely out of the way of traffic. A good motorist will still give you a little bit more room if they know there's no oncoming vehicles, and you're going to have that capability. If you are going to go over the line or ride over the line, as I've seen on several different roads within Mequon, I've also taken the time as a bicyclist to look at the shoulder and see what they're avoiding as a bicyclist. There are a few that are going to ride well into the lane. They're going to be 3-4 feet into the lane, and they're just not going to pay attention to where they should be riding because they think that's where they need to be. That's incorrect, in my opinion. Hugging the shoulder a little bit closer is ideal. But in those circumstances, 90% of the bicyclists are avoiding broken off areas of pavement. Places where pavement is eroded away, places in the pavement where it's not safe to ride, where it can catch your wheel and send you into the ditch. I tried to ride really close to the line once, got my wheel hooked in one of the cracks, and then ended up going down, landing in oncoming traffic. There wasn't an ample shoulder there. Had there been a 4-foot shoulder, I would have been safe. I wouldn't have been near the edge on a crack trying to stay out of the way of traffic, and I wouldn't have been in that situation. And by doing this, this is providing that opportunity here for bicyclists to travel to and from the interurban trail from the west side of the city, which I'm in full support of.
Alderman Parrish.
You don't get my yes vote without me venting a little bit. Two things. First of all, this is like the Mequon Thiensville Bike Commission that's recommending this, so I feel like this is part Thiensville making this recommendation to us. I get that it makes sense, but I guess the bigger issue is we haven't seen this plan that I thought we authorized, and we're doing all this in piecemeal. And hopefully it will be here soon. But I don't, I guess, understand what the long-term strategy is and what Thiensville has to do with it. But I get it. Highland Road's really important, so I'll vote yes. But these sidewalks keep popping up everywhere in bike lanes, and it's like, what's the strategy?
Alderman Schneider.
I understand. I also would like to see the entire plan. However, I am convinced by the fact that the appropriate time to do this is when road reconstruction is being done, because it's less expensive to do, and then you can do a large swath in its entirety for less money than it would cost afterward to try to retrofit something in. So I do think this is the time to do this particular stretch of road. And I'm also convinced by the fact that at least on the eastern side of this, there and the western side too, I think both areas are going to have more auto traffic, and I think it would be increasingly dangerous if we don't fix this, given what Alderman Bush has reported about the state of the shoulder. So I'm in favor of this.
I see Director Lundin has joined us to add some background.
I just want to offer a point of clarification. There is an existing 2010 to 2030 plan that was adopted by resolution through the Common Council in 2011. So there is a plan that exists. The Bikeway Commission is going through a process, or did go through a process to issue an RFP to update that plan. You may know that we try to otherwise update plans roughly every 5 years, obviously from 2011 until now, partly due to the lack of funding from the bike lane capital fund that was otherwise established has sort of delayed that. But this recommendation is not on a segment by segment basis. It is based on that 2010 to 2030 plan that is the basis for why Highland Road from its existing section to Port Washington Road was built with 4-foot lanes, was based upon that recommendation that actually has it for this entire east-west corridor. So just point of clarification.
Thank you. I was nearly certain we had a plan, but that's a good long time since we've refreshed it. That's the year I joined the council. It might have been adopted before I actually joined it earlier that year. But that's how staff knows to throw these in when the road program comes up. That's the official means of documenting where we do and where we do not want them. So thank you for adding that. Alderman Girl.
As a side note, just widening the road with more traffic coming is going to make it safer for the cars too.
Very true. I've been reminded we do have a motion in the second on the table, but some good discussion for sure. Is there any further comments or points people want to make? Seeing none, why don't we'll do a roll call vote. I think we have to. It's got money involved. Sort of. It costs more money to do it this way, so let's do a roll call vote.
Alderman Hancher,
Aye.
Alderman Garrell,
Aye.
Alderman Parrish,
Aye.
Alderman Schneider,
Aye.
Alderman Gebhardt,
Aye.
Alderman Strelchak,
Aye.
Alderman Bushy,
Aye.
and Alderman Meyer.
No.
7-1, that passes. On to the next item here. Resolution 4018, a resolution rejecting a bid for the City Hall roof replacement project from Nofke Roofing of Mequon, Wisconsin, due to a bidder's error. Recommendation forthcoming from Public Works.
Public Works voted 3-0 in favor of the resolution.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from the council? Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Approval or a motion to deny?
Motion and a second to deny. So approve the resolution to deny. So a yes is a no. Yeah.
Just to deny.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor of denying, please say aye.
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 Opposed? That resolution is passed. Next, Resolution 4019, a resolution awarding the 2023 City Hall roof replacement contract to Elois Roofing and Sheet Metal of West Allis, Wisconsin, in the amount of $335,995. Recommendation is forthcoming from Public Works.
Public Works approved at 3-0.
Thank you.
I'd like to move Resolution 4019 for approval.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Hearing or seeing none, please call the roll.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Parrish.
Aye.
Alderman Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Gebhardt.
Aye.
Alderman Strelchak.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Hancher.
Aye.
And that resolution passes. Next is Resolution 4020, resolution authorizing supplemental inspection services in excess of $25,000 during the 2023 construction season with the following engineering firms: Grafe, Capper and Associates, R.A. Smith, Rupert Milkey, and She. Recommendation is forthcoming from Public Works.
Public Works approved at 3-0.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments, or is there a motion?
I will move to approve Resolution 4020.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or clarifications? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Alderman Parrish.
Aye.
Alderman Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Gebhardt.
Aye.
Alderman Strelchak.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Hancher.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
And lastly, we have Resolution 4021, resolution authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of River Hills for municipal water service. This was approved earlier this evening by the Mequon Municipal Water Utility Commission. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any last comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that resolution passes. Getting towards the end here, we have no specified unfinished business from prior meetings, no specified new business. We do have a potential closed session item for personnel evaluation of the city administrator. The Common Council may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85(1)(c), considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and then may reconvene into open session to take such action as deemed appropriate. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Motion.
Motion and a
Close
second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye when your name is called.
Alderman Schneider.
Aye.
Alderman Gebhardt.
Aye.
Alderman Strelchak.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy. Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Hancher.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Parrish.
Aye.
And Mayor Nervin.
Aye. I do not anticipate we'll be coming back into open session, so good evening, everyone.